Good morning, good afternoon or good evening, whatever time it is you're watching this video. Welcome back to my YouTube channel and to another installment in the Missabe Western railroad build. This week we will completely finish the lower helix and build all the connections to the middle deck. So without wasting any more time, let's just head right out into the workshop and get busy. Well, good morning. Today is October something, the second Monday October, whatever that was. This is the helix as I left it on Saturday. I got 2 full laps of bench work in. The track ends just where the locomotive is parked. Today I want to get the bench work for the 3rd lap in, which is a short lap. It doesn't do the oval. The curve continues at this point and it goes across the middle above where the box of track is, so almost directly above the entry to the helix, and then there is a second Y just above the other one. So I want to get as much of that done today as I possibly can. So don't go away, I will check in with you again later. Well, I have got the next half lap pieced together out of the offcuts, and I've positioned a full sheet to do the last half lap on the start of the Y, because it'll be a lot easier that way. I've got to build some kind of frame across the middle which will just rest on the 2 sides of the helix and support this. It'll basically be the same procedure as at the bottom of the helix, and there'll probably be enough offcuts from this sheet to finish the Y, so I really haven't wasted anything. I had to add a bit in the middle to be able to get to the center of the curve so I could draw it, but that's easy enough. And there's going to be a wing cut out here as part of the same piece, so I can put a leg and support it properly along with this piece here. So let me go away, get that piece cut, and I'll be right back. Well, it is now Tuesday morning. I just got out here a few minutes ago. I did a bit of cleaning up because I was tired last night and I left it in a big mess. As you can see, I got the whole of the top lap of the helix in, or the lower helix anyway, and I laid the foam roadbed on it pretty much to the end. Today's goal is to install all the safety fences around the top lap and to get all the track laid, all the way from the current end of track here where the shop towels are, all the way around the back and around the front again. I think that's about 120 feet total length, and I want to get all that track in and wired and tested. But first things first though, let's get the safety fences on so that I can get the edges sanded without having to make a big mess on the finished track. So I'm just going to turn the camera off and I will check in with you again later. Don't go away. Well, as you can see, I got all the fences and all the track done today, all around the top layer. What you probably can't see is that I only got about half the feeders in because I ran out of wire. I've just gone inside and ordered some more, but unfortunately it's not going to be here for a few days. I've got loads of the bus wire, but the feeder wire I just ran out of. I should have bought more. Who would have imagined that 100 feet of each would not be enough to do the helix? I've now had the locomotive to the top of the helix and back on all 4 tracks, just to test that everything works. So that confirms that I don't have any crossed wires or anything like that. I've still got a whole load of feed wires missing on the top deck because I ran out of wire. Well, I ran out of the right colours that I need. I've got some more on order, but that's not going to be here for a few days, and I don't have the luxury of waiting for it, so I'm going to have to get on with other parts of the railroad, and hopefully I'll remember to come back and finish that later. At the moment, I'm relying on the rail joiners, which, although fine while they're new, corrosion will eventually make the electrical contact intermittent. So I have to remember to put the feeders in later. I have to build the top Y, which is more or less directly above the lower one. And there's 2 double junctions along the back wall. And then the middle deck will be cantilevered out from the front of the helix around here. It's about a foot outside of it at this point, and then it cuts over the top of it, so the benchwork is only 3 inches beyond the front of it, hence the position next to the post. So I've just about got enough room to get through there, and then it curves back round, so the middle level benchwork is directly above the staging yard benchwork. I bought a load more lumber today, but there's a few more things I want to get on with before I start that, so I will check in with you again later. Well, this is how far I got today. I started by putting that piece in because it was easy, and then I've been working around the top of the grade. From where that clamp is, there's the double junction underneath the hammer. I had to get the alignment of that right. And then I have a slight step down where I go from the thin road bed to the thick road bed. And the grade continues all the way up around here. I'm about ½ an inch from the top of the grade here. And then by the time I get to the end of where the level is, I will have leveled out completely. This section here will get a solid ½ inch plywood top and a piece of ½ inch foam above it. And that will be the MO for the rest of the main deck. So once I get to there, I've done the hard part. As I say, I didn't get quite as far as I had hoped today, but every piece is difficult. And of course, there's no way that I can really spec this. I've got to just make it up as I go along. Tomorrow, I think I want to work the other way, finish the Y, and then get track on this area, so that when I come in here, I can go straight into the upper helix without risking getting ahead of myself and covering track that hasn't been laid yet. And my next track laying session, I have to come back and repair a bit here where the masking tape is. One of the rails got pulled out of the tie clips. The masking tape there is just so it doesn't get pulled up again. There's a rail joiner underneath the pink wire, which I will just unsolder, take that last foot of track out and replace it. It's easier than trying to repair it. So that's a job for another day. Right now it's time to go in, get cleaned up, feed the dogs and get something to eat. So I'll check in with you again tomorrow. Well, it's Saturday morning, and although I didn't make any videos yesterday, I did get a reasonable amount of progress done. I got all the benchwork and roadbed in for the Y at the top of the helix. The section across the back is basically what amounts to a very much overscale and under-detailed plate girder bridge. Since it was just about 5 feet of straight double track over the top of the helix, that was the easiest way of doing it. It was certainly a lot easier than having to add about 3 pairs of additional supports in the middle. Today I want to get some track laid on it, and I also want to get the benchwork filled in this area here. You can see the gap between where I finished the roadbed at the top of the helix and the first section of benchwork for the industrial area over the staging yard. I think I'm going to work on this benchwork first, and then come back to track laying later. So I'm going to turn the camera off, get busy, and I will check in with you again periodically. Well, this morning I managed to get this angled piece in, get it positioned in exactly the right location and permanently attached. And I've got rid of 2 of the temporary legs for this rectangular section up here and replaced them with the permanent supports. One is a bracket attached to the top of the helix, and the other one is a leg from the level below, and that makes it as solid as a house. These 2 temporary legs will stay here until after the railroad is installed in the client's basement. The one at the back will eventually disappear altogether because there'll be a ledger board on the wall that has been built in the middle of his basement. And the one at the front will be replaced by a threaded rod set back a few inches behind the second staging track. So the next step, I think, is to figure out what size top I need for it, because it doesn't line up with the frame exactly. It'll be cut off flush at this end and also front and back, but I'm going to extend it long, probably about as far as here, but I haven't decided exactly where yet. So I'm going to have to go away, do some calculations and get right back. Well, that is one more week's progress documented. Next time we will continue exactly where we left off. I hope you enjoyed this presentation and found something either interesting or useful or both, and I hope to see you again next week. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.